welcome back to Orange County's Real Estate Hot 30. I am Lina Fayyad and this is
McDonald.
And in today's topics, we have a few topics we're going to start off with. First off, we're going to tell you how January has been on fire, guys. Let me tell you, we thought the market was going to kind of calm down after the holidays, but you know what? What do you have to tell us about that?
You're right. The holidays and January have been insane as far as real estate goes around here. Normally, January is a sleeper month. People are coming out of hibernation. They're fixing their finances after the holiday spending sprees. You know, we have seen a really big climb in the amount of home sales and activity recently. I need to start that over.
It's okay. We can start over.
Okay. This is the last one.
It's okay. Take 3. Cut. Okay.
Okay. Just get this up.
No, it's okay. Oh, you want to open it?
Just I want my notes.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It's so dark. Can you see it?
Yeah, it has a screen protector.
Oh, okay. Welcome to Orange County's Real Estate Hot 30. I am Lina Fayyad and this is
McDonald.
And in today's segments, we're going to start off with updating you how January has been on fire, guys. We really thought the market was going to kind of, take it easy, take a notch down, but new year, new me kind of took over everywhere, including real estate. So what do you have to tell us about that, Holly?
Yeah, no, totally. January is typically a sleeper month. It's not going to typically be your on fire, busy real estate months. This year, we have seen a lot more activity. Typically what you'll expect is people are coming out of their holiday hangovers. They are catching up on their finances and their savings after the holiday spending sprees. They maybe are looking forward to the spring market, which is, typically a few months down the road. But by all means, people are not necessarily going crazy and searching for homes already. Typically, January is pretty slow at the open houses.
True.
We don't get a lot of inquiries. We will maybe get some calls about the future, but not January. But in this case, with the low interest
this month so far.
Yeah, around the holidays, the interest rates got really low, and that helped the market tremendously. People want to be out there looking for homes when they can lock in a rate that's as low as they are today. They realize that they can have a low rate for the length of their loan, which is usually 30 years.
True.
And people are realizing that, hey, we don't know how long this rate will exist. And we don't know either. We can only guess. But it is what it is today. So people don't want to take that gamble. They want to lock it in. And when there's less inventory on the market, homes are selling faster.
I mean, I think even interest rates have been, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me again, but the lowest they've been in the longest time. And my open houses have 6, 7, 8 groups a week, on the weekends. And I'm just like, I've seen active buyers out there, most definitely pre-approved, ready to go. And I'm like, wow, the year's starting off pretty strong. And like you said, I think we have a lot of positivity to look forward to.
Yeah, the buyers just don't have a lot to look at. And for instance, I put a house on the market recently in Westminster and we didn't even make it to open house. We already received multiple offers. What a nice situation to be in as a seller. Plus for the buyers, they got a low interest rate. They got a house that they are excited about. Sometimes when a house gets multiple offers and a lot of activity, I think it makes buyers feel, very rewarded when they actually get their offer accepted because they feel like they have the chance to purchase a house that other people covet, So True. I think it's a really nice thing. Obviously, it's sad for the people that don't get it, but all of those buyers that are out there are still on the search and they need homes to buy. Yeah. So,
And I mean, we've seen a scenario together where one home sells in a community super quick and then 3 other homes right next to it sell because all these sellers realize, oh wow, there's potential out there and they're going quick.
Right. So in this case, I'm sure as always people will wait for the spring market. It is pretty much always the case that there is more inventory in the spring and there's more buyers in the spring. But I think on the flip side, for sellers to realize that when the spring rolls around, when there are more homes on the market, you're just a little fish in a big pond, possibly.
That is correct.
And, you might want to consider being on the market when you have less competition, but know that you're still likely to get a good response, and buyers are going to get a good rate. So, of course, they're going to be excited, too.
Yeah, they kind of have first dibs on on that one special home,
Right. We don't know what the future holds. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, some positivity going into February 2020. So if you have any questions about putting your home up for sale or buyers, let's go out there, put your shoes on and let's get you seeing some homes. So
that actually transitions really well into our next segment.
Exactly.
Our tips and tricks.
So tips and tricks today, Holly wanted to bring up such a great topic that happens to all realtors, buyers out there, is that when you're out looking for a home and your buyer and yourself, you guys cannot locate the condo or townhome. I'm sure this happened to you multiple times. So a lot of you, to myself, what do you have to tell us about that?
Yeah, this is
share some stories.
This is an embarrassing yet frustrating and very relevant topic. The fact is, not all condos and townhomes, properties and communities, their addresses do not always make sense.
Oh gosh, even if you look them up on Google Maps, guys, I kid you not, you can follow the street and then try to get there, it's totally different.
Yeah, they can just be really confusing the way they're listed, and sometimes the front door to a property is on the inside of a street, so you might be driving down the road, but you're flanked with garages on both sides. So you don't know where to park, you don't know where to go. It can be really frustrating for us as realtors, because even though we know inventory very well and we know most of the communities that we're showing in, and we do our homework, and we try to get there and scout places out, there's always going to be instances where a buyer will ask us last minute to show a property that we're not familiar with. We can get familiar, but in that moment may not have all the details about how to get to the property and where's the best place to park. So I think Lina has said it best, what she tells her clients to be prepared for.
I mean, get ready to get some, steps in and some walking in. Regardless of that, sometimes they have two different entrances, like you said. Gated communities is a whole different topic right here too, where you have to give the person at the gate the name and the buyer, and even if they do, they still, and the buyer could be turned off by that and be like, well, I don't want to give my information, and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
And same thing happens with just communities that are gated where you have to punch in a code. There are multiple scenarios that can happen here, and all are annoying.
Yeah.
Best case scenario is we are given the code, we can share it with our buyer in advance. That does not always happen. Half the time we don't get the code. Sometimes associations won't allow homeowners to give out the code, so they won't. Sure. Or the agents will be protective about it and won't give it out, and will insist that we just have our clients follow a car in. And that can be a turn off too. Absolutely. I mean, if you're sitting on a busy road at rush hour waiting for another car so you can follow them in, it can be downright anxiety provoking.
Yeah, especially as a first impression, you really want that kind of sense of calmness going into a home you might purchase. Yeah. And so like you said, that anxiety kicks in, and then the buyer doesn't want to see it, or you get there and it's like finally you get them there and then they see it's like they don't want to get in. I'm like, yeah, let's just take a look. Why not? Just out of respect that the seller left.
Totally. And I think same thing goes for parking too, because even if we have a route kind of mapped out within a community, the parking spaces that are available for guests may not always be open when you get there. And some places have very limited parking, which of course that can be a turn off as well. But, being able to park, find your location, coordinate with your agent, get into the door of the property. Sure. There's a lot. So you might think that a quick, 10-minute tour of a property, you'll be in, out, bam, boom. No, it can turn into 30 minutes easy. So please budget your time accordingly when you're looking for properties. I promise you, we do not want to belabor it. But, the thing is these complexes, some are massive, some are small, some have adequate parking, some do not. Some are easy to find and they're, the setup makes sense. Others do not. So we ask you to have a little bit of grace with us, because we are trying our darndest to get you to the property. But even if we're there, sometimes trying to direct you and navigate you to the property, it's kind of like playing a game where I'm looking for you, you're looking for me, and
we're both looking for the unit, and then we don't want to seem unprofessional, and then so all that plays in. So kind of keep an open mind about that, guys, and just know you're in good hands. I'm sure if you have a realtor that, I'm sure they'll be telling you, give us a moment till we find the unit. Some places have 2 HOAs, and some HOAs are from 15 units to hundreds of units. So you can imagine the length of the distance that you have to go walk. And
and that's another really important point that you should know as a buyer, is that as you're looking at condos and townhomes, and actually there's even single family homes that will have homeowners associations. So HOA, just to be clear, the acronym is homeowners association. Okay. And some places will have 1, but in Orange County, it is not uncommon to have 2. There's places in Irvine that have 2. The first one will be for the immediate association, for the immediate complex. The second one will be called a master, and that's for kind of the greater area, the neighborhood amenities. We see that a lot in South Orange County. In fact, down there in some areas, you're going to have Melrose taxes too, which is a topic for another day. But just to be clear, you do want to make sure you're aware of how much the association payments are, how frequent they are. There's a big difference between $300 a month and $300 a quarter. And all of those payments obviously play a role in your budget, but it also, you may not be aware, but it also will play a role in your financing ability, because lenders are going to qualify you to make sure that you can afford that extra payment out of your pocket. So if you're having to come out of pocket $300 a month for an association, that might knock down the amount of house you can afford, because they still need to show that you can pay that $300.
True.
So I know that's a lot of math and, situations, but the bottom line is know what your association payments are, know how often they are, make sure to let your lender know, and then confirm that you can afford that purchase price plus that association amount.
Absolutely.
Big deal.
And I mean, HOA is definitely a contingency that, has to be removed. So please take a really good look at those documents. Please take a really good look at those HOA documents. We can't know everything about every HOA, and every HOA sometimes covers certain things. Some only cover the perimeter or the gardening, or, depending on what they offer.
That's a very valid point. So we have to preface this by saying that not all of the listings that are, available to us on the multiple listing service, the MLS, will have the accurate information about the association. We know a lot about each one, but they are all very different. So sometimes a property might be listed and it will say that their dues are, let's say, $300 a month, and that includes pool and spa. Great. But is that all it includes? Does it include insurance for the building? Does it include landscaping? Does it include the exterior, like Lina was saying? In some cases, you might get lucky. It might include water, and that, once you have a water bill, you'll realize it's actually, a decent monthly expense. So if it's part of your HOA, that's a budgeting factor. But all associations are different, and you just want to confirm and ask your agent to double check what they actually cover. So we have a listing that tells us what they should cover, but going the extra mile, calling the association manager just to verify. So I want to kind of circle back to what Lina was saying about HOA documents and the contingency. So let me break down contingency into a very simple form. A contingency is a condition that you as the buyer have to review to make sure you're satisfied in that before purchasing the property. So review of HOA documents, so review of homeowner association documents is a contingency. You have the right to review all of that paperwork. We will not get that till we're in escrow. So everybody asks for that ahead of time, and I'm sorry. Normally we get that after escrow is open, but we typically have 17 days in which escrow will order the paperwork. We'll make sure you get everything from the management company so nothing is missing. You'll get to review that. You'll look at the budget, you'll look at the meeting notes, you'll look at the rules, like bylaws, everything. So you can satisfy yourself. If you can't find something, we can go back and get that question answered. But once you review those, then you have 17 days from when escrow opens to sign off, and you will remove that contingency and say, hey, cool, we're good. I am signing off. I am satisfied with this HOA. I will not back out of the purchase based upon the association. I'm satisfied. I'm cool with them. So that's really important. Just know that I just want to remind people that we just don't have all of those documents. And even if we had some of them, I don't know how useful they would be, because most sellers and homeowners don't hold on to all that paperwork. So we wouldn't have a complete picture anyway. And budgets get updated and reviewed every year.
And new assessments come up in homeowner associations all the time. And so, buyers, we have to let buyers know if there's an update in the community. Sometimes sellers don't even know if something is being renovated.
That's totally true.
So, and I think we ran up with one of our clients with that. So I do want to mention one thing we did run into is associations and talking about closing escrow, like pool keys and garage keys, and sometimes we get so caught up in the whole process we kind of forget, you know what, there are other keys besides the house keys. What can you tell us about that? I'm sure you ran into some situation.
This happens all the time, and it can happen in communities that are not just condos and townhomes, so homeowners listen up too. I just sold a home in Costa Mesa that was part of a gated community. So there was a gate key. So you could walk in and out as a pedestrian out the gate. Now my seller had the keys, so it wasn't a big deal. But what I want to relay to you is that those keys are considered part of the property. They need to be conveyed to the buyer. Mm-hmm. They are considered the seller's obligation to pass along. Now, if the seller does not pass them along or claims that they do not have them in their possession, then you as the buyer and your agent need to inform escrow that those items have not been provided for. They will confirm with the seller that they are indeed not there. And then escrow can confirm with the seller that they will hold back funds to replace those keys, because man, those gate keys, pool keys,
sometimes.
Yeah, $100. Same thing with like parking permits for the community, and those are important to have if you're ever gonna have people over, you know. You don't want to get, you as a buyer, I've been in the shoes of this buyer myself because it was me. When I bought my place, they didn't pass the pool key along. I should have asked. So it's a lesson learned. You always learn something with every transaction. But I closed escrow. I moved in. I got my keys. I asked, where is the pool key, by the way? And they said, oh, seller never had it. Sorry.
And you couldn't never get it.
Yeah, they never.
You had to get by one your own.
I had to go spend $100 for a pool key for a pool I never hardly used. But I needed it though, and then because I had to rent my place out, and when I rented it, of course I needed to provide that to the tenants. You know, it's a benefit of living in the place where you pay, you know, a few $100s a month, oftentimes for an association. So
regardless you use it or not, you want your amenity, the key to your amenities, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, we can talk about keys further in another episode because it's amazing how much you could say about keys. But just sellers, please make sure that when you do your disclosures and you say how many like garage remotes you have for the property that you plan to convey, make sure the buyers know. I cannot tell you how many times buyers have gotten into a situation. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Exactly, I was going to say that.
You're buying a house, you're spending like all your savings, and then, you know, you feel screwed out of a couple $100s, and it's just bittersweet.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just add one more thing before we go on to our next segment. But homeowners, if you're in a place that's a little bit confusing, you know, for finding your property, make sure to maybe advise your agent, or if you are the person directing other agents to your property, give them very like overly detailed directions to find your property.
Please.
Pretend we're like the pizza guy. Like pretend that we know nothing about how to find your unit, because we may not. So be as helpful as possible, because ultimately the happier our clients are when they get to your property, the more likely they might be to make an offer.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. So please, guys, you know, help us help you out here. So thank you for that. That was really great information. I guess we can move on to our next topic.
And
finally, pocket listings. So we got a lot of questions from you guys regarding this. So basically, pocket listings are properties that are not on the MLS, okay?
So they're not on the multiple listing service.
They are not. No. X out. And they are not being marketed to the public. What I mean by that, they do not, and I repeat, do not have a coming soon sign or any sort of marketing. So I know a new law just passed about coming soon listings, so that's totally different. And we kind of just want to, make it clear out there for everyone out there. The pocket listings we are mentioning here are not being marketed, and they are basically properties not on the MLS.
Yeah, they're basically just private opportunities that sellers are willing to share for the right potential buyer.
Exactly.
And so you probably heard of the term pocket listings. I mean, it's all over like HGTV and any other real estate type show that you'll see. But pocket listings they can be a great opportunity for a buyer maybe that can't find what they're looking for, and the right connection is made with a seller or, an agent who is aware of a pocket listing. It can be a great in. It can also be not the greatest in, because without knowing the circumstances of the exact property, it could be a seller that maybe isn't very motivated to sell, or only wants a certain price that may not be within market value. So, each opportunity is going to have its pros and cons, but the biggest pro, of course, is just an opportunity to identify a property that the general public is not aware of. And if you're looking for something really special and specific, let us know, because we have relationships with home sellers and other agents and other brokerages that we all network, and we share these pocket opportunities. And, any connection we can make, because we consider ourselves kind of matchmakers in real estate.
Like that.
Any connection we can make, of course, we would love the opportunity to help you, whether you're looking to buy a home that is not available now or sell a home that you don't wish to put on the general market.
Absolutely. And for all of you guys out there trying to test the market, honestly, this is such a great time. I'm just so excited where it's going, where February is coming along. And like you said, do not hesitate. We'd be more than happy to let our inside, circle know about your home if you are thinking of putting it on the market. And we're here for you. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, real estate is just really a magical experience, and we're really, really excited to see the decade kick off this way, and hope that it brings everybody a lot of success in the next 10 years.
Absolutely. You heard it right here. Thank you for watching Orange County's Real Estate Hot 30. I'm Lina Fayyad.
I'm Holly McDonald, and we'll see you next week. Bye.